So you mean to tell me that you can't make a full-blown game in just 1 week? What is wrong with you, man? Yet here I am in a year and a half later and I haven't finished my game. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind playtesting the games, but obviously I wasn't expecting you to actually have much. Pretty cool though. Pretty cool concept. The it's like a machine gun shotgun. What you doing, girl? My dog seems very interested in the game. You want to play a video game? You're on holiday for 2 weeks soon, but that's cool. What you gonna do for holiday? Yeah, no worries. Going to Bulgaria. I've never been there. Have you been there before? First time. Nice. Another place to check off the map. Yeah, family's pretty good. School just started over here, so Sam's doing that. First, I guess today was day number 2 for him. So it should be going pretty well. But yeah, appreciate you asking. He'll be back around tomorrow evening, so next time I'm on stream, I'm sure he'll be here to talk your ear off. Funny guy. I finished the Arcane Tower, by the way. I don't know if you watched that last stream. I put some animation into it. So it kind of hovers. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, got the Arcane Tower put in. I even modified the Water Tower a little bit. I appreciate you watching. Yeah, so there's that one. And then the Water Tower. Let's go over to that real quick. It never looks as... The frame rate is worse in Blender because it's trying to... you know, it's trying to render it as I play the animation, but you can see the water there. So it was a minor step up from before. Obviously, it's going to be super small in the game, so, you know, you can barely tell, but it's a little something something. Just bring a little bit of life to the screen. Pull that up in the game. Yeah, I was gonna... It's exactly what I was gonna do to show you, because obviously the rendered down version is really small. But that's what the original looks like. And I gave the sort of the basic tower a kind of a breathing light in there, so you can actually see the light. Wait, it's not doing it. Did I set that to repeat? Oh, there we go. I did not. And now the original tower will kind of breathe. And then arcane. Water. Need to fix the origin point on that one. What else? And then the pyramid, which I might end up modifying that as well. I think the scale looks a little bit off, but that's what we're working with. Yeah, appreciate it. I mean, a year and a half later, I hope I can at least do a little bit for the production quality. And tonight, I'm working in Blender some more. Shadow. Yeah, Shadow would be good. Which one in particular? All of them? Shadow would be good. I'm just trying to figure out how, because it's not a 3D game, obviously, but basically I don't know where the light's going to be coming from all the time. So if it's an animation, I could probably make it look even worse pretty quickly. This whole time my dog thinks I'm talking to her, so she's just wagging her tail like crazy. Come here. All right, go sit. Go sit. Go sit. She's funny. Floating one needs a little something to show its place. That would be fine. Yeah, we could do something like that. In fact, I was thinking maybe even more of a little field of crystals. So maybe that would do the trick. Yeah, literally, I made the face cam thing, the glitch a feature. So that is, it's a staple now. Let's see what we can do here. I'm sure this won't be too terrible. Okay, so. Oops, wrong one. Just need to refresh stream real quick. Alrighty. Let's see, what is the X? What is that one? Let's grab that X coordinate and apply it to this one. Then maybe slide this one back under it a little bit. Drag another way. How many of these are there? Are there 2 here? Going to make the enemies in Blender 2. Yes, definitely. I'm going to be using... So I'm thinking I'm going to use some sort of a smoke particle, which is not too different from what it was before, but since it'll be in Blender, I'll use a smoke particle, render it to animations, of course, and then, or export it to animations, but then I'll have like small variations because I can change smoke color, obviously scale, and then like what I'm kind of thinking is like for example, if I should go back to some of the reference art, let me see if I can pull it up. Well, I don't know where it is. Basically, like, I'm kind of thinking, like, it's a smoky, wispy thing, but, like, every now and then you'll see, like, a claw come out of it. Something like that, as it moves along. And then have variations of that. So, yeah, long answer put shortly. I am aiming for Blender on that. Ghastly from Pokemon. Yeah. Ghastly, kind of like a Ghastly combined with a Haunter. That's kind of like literally the Pokemon version of what I'm discussing. Yeah, somewhere between these two, because he's got the claws, and then he's more of like the actual ball of smoke. But, you know, I'll have different monster types, so I can probably do combinations. So I'm in the works of learning that, and I hope to have it by next week. At least have a version of one of the enemies, because it is about darn time I lock those down. A dark gritty vibe. Yeah, I think it'll, if I do it right, I think we can get there. And then after all of that, after the towers and the enemies, I think just figuring out what I'm going to do with the backgrounds. But again, at this point, I'm going kind of like all Blender. At least that way, it's Blender, it's going to be my work, it's a little bit crappy, you know, Not the worst, but not the best. But it'll be the same art style nonetheless, because it's going to be kind of like this high-res stuff, but then shrunk way down into almost pixel art. Which I was trying to figure out that style, like what it's called. And to me, it's just called like 1995, like Baldur's Gate or Diablo. Because I think that a lot of like small, low resolution images in games these days are clean. You know, like low color count, low poly, very clean looks because it can't fit a lot of colors in there. I'm using a lot of colors, but in a very small space, which is a different look. And the more of these I do, the more I kind of get a feel for what that look is kind of entailing. Oh, I'll appreciate it, man. Yeah, kind of an old, messy 3D look. Like, especially if you zoom way in, it gets kind of messy like that. Like, this almost looks to me like Unreal. Unreal, the original. And I wasn't trying, that was just what happened. It's funny. Alright, let's see, are these going to... Oof, they do not. Okay, let's go back to frame 1. Actually, what frame did I have them on? I lost them. That's odd. Never had that happen. They still exist. They all went to the center. Even the original Command and Conquer graphics. Yeah. Now, where's the old one? I don't want that one. Okay, switch between Legacy. Sorry, kind of trying to scale it here on the Steam page. It doesn't work too well. But yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, so... Yeah, that graphics switch is a pretty cool move. And it's funny, when you go back and you play the old game, if you just play it the way it is, with the old graphics, you kind of get used to it for a minute. But then the moment you are playing the new version, like Diablo Resurrected, or whatever they just did with that Command and Conquer, I bet, too, and then you toggle it, you're like, oh, my eyes. Or at least I am. All right. Yeah, this is annoying. So let me figure something out here. Because these are tied to an empty axis, but the moment I hit animate, it all resets. So let me figure out why. All right, so we're going to select a duplicated object here. Then consider reduplicating with Shift D. See if that works any better. So let me delete these. And then no, that still moves back to the center as well. What I can do is explicitly set its location on frame 1. So let me just try this. So I'm going to take this thingy, let's move it way back. I'll scale it down to try to make it look a little bit different. Then, so this is frame 1. So what I'll do is hit I. We'll set the location. Let me go to frame 30. It's so weird looking. You know what I should do is, it might be cool to have like a circle of these things. But I don't know. Riley Parker, how you doing tonight? Welcome to the stream. The stream where I'm figuring out Blender live. Hope your day's going well. Livy Johnson. Number 3 in chat. Pretty big deal. All right, so let me grab a screenshot here of the coordinates. And I'm just going to, I've got that open here on the other screen. Yeah, we missed Code. He wasn't here on the last week, so, but he said he watched it, so he's not in trouble. But he does have a trip coming up. Going to a new country for the first time. All right, let me take this crystal, and what I'm going to do is go to frame 30 and set the coordinates to, wait, what am I setting the coordinates to? This is what I need the screenshot of, not the other one. Okay, now I'm going to move to frame 30. Click on the duplicate. X will be that, and then Y will be 2.0441. Z will be negative 2.6411. So that's there. And then if I want it to look like it's kind of hovering up and down, I'll probably just adjust the Y here. Which, well, actually, sorry, it'll be the Z. So about like this. And then I'll hit I for location. Then down here, I'm going to take this first frame. Let me see here. Actually, I should probably make it go down to make it look better. Let's see here. Oops. I'm gonna have to go the other way, I think. So what was it? Teapot or... I don't even remember that. What was being called a teapot? The tower? It's been a while. Calling the tower one. Yeah. It's pretty valid. I should put a teapot tower. Alright, so I've got that, but what I kind of want to do is reverse this. So what happens if I... Okay, that should work. Let me move this. Oops, let me move these. To the end. Move these to the middle. And then move these, let's see, duplicate them to the beginning. There, it kind of goes in the opposite direction now. I'm gonna go ahead and save. Oh, a few comments above, you asked about a few changes to gdevelop. Oh, yeah, you sure did. Sorry, man. You dislike that they moved the new object button to the top. Yeah, that one has gotten me a couple of times already. So, let's see, and then you have to keep scrolling up as you don't use shortcuts. And the fill bar update. What is the fill bar update? Honestly, I haven't even looked at that one. Are you talking about like a resource bar? Let's take a look here. Gold and Pro can now choose to use GPT-5 as the engine for the AI agent. Feel free to try it and share your feedback. Compared to the default model, it should take more time to inspect the game and go a bit further when asked to build a feature. I haven't tried that yet. But if I get super stuck on something, it might be worth a shot. For big camera zoom to be set to 0. I didn't know that was considered a bug. Or unless... yeah, I don't know. Oh, they fixed a memory leak in the sticker behavior. That's good because I use the sticker behavior a lot. Separate side panel for Ask AI. Well, I'm not sure which part, like exactly where they put in those changes, but I do remember being a little bit confused about where to create a new object for a minute. I was like, do I even gdevelop? Oh, they moved it up there. Because I thought this was like to add a new folder. And then with that being the case, I was like, how do I add a new folder? You have to click on the triple dot to do a folder. Oh, you know what? I did have this build a little something for me, but it was too basic. I used it to try to build... I was needing some sort of like a nested for each object. Doing like a check from like each tower, for each tower, then for each enemy kind of thing. And it didn't really do very well. It was pretty shallow. So far I'm not very impressed with the Ask AI to build anything. Maybe it'll get better. The button and fill bar has a warning if you add one to an existing project. Really? Panel sprite button now use variants, allowing easy swapping of their visual aspect. You'll have to make some adjustments to existing buttons in your project. Huh. You don't say. Choose the new variant on your objects. So they use a graphical editor to place the instances. Properties that once fit this role have been removed in the new extensions. It means that after the extension update, the custom objects will look deformed. You can fix this by adjusting the instance's positions inside the custom object with the graphical editor. Interesting. I'll have to do a deep dive on that. Yeah, the old way was pretty simple. So and my buttons aren't broken yet, but I guess adding new ones could have problems, huh? Growing pains, man. Growing pains. Hopefully it is better, though. All right. All right, one crystal added. A few to go. So that's going to be right about the top right there. Then what I will do is take it and move it over and move it down. And then, actually I should put this on frame 0. Let's do it one more time. Move it over, move it down. Right about there. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. You get kind of like a muscle memory, even if it's like a brain muscle memory, and then, you know, when you have a workflow, it kind of, you can break the focus a bit. All right, let's set that right there. Then let's go to the middle point. Actually, let me copy the X. Let me copy the Y coordinate. But then move it upward a little. And we'll save that location. The variable update a while back. You still try to type the old way. Yeah, that was a tough one. You know, most programming languages don't change their syntax very often. So when they start doing that, it's like semi-learning it all over again. All right, that's not too horrible. Let's do another. Do you think matching the background to the tower design will be hard? I'm not sure, to be honest. And I'm not sure because I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm going to try to do some sort of small tiling effect. Or am I going to do kind of like I did before with just a full-blown map? I mean, I certainly could do that. Just make a custom map for every single level like I did before. The drawback there is file size. And as you know, it can take forever to load a GDevelop game with a huge file size. So, but yeah, I mean, I'll try to match it up as best I can. Because I'll still have access to like all the same kind of textures and stuff. But obviously if it looks too high res and too polished, I would apply some sort of filters or something to kind of rough it up a bit, I suppose. Why are those right there? What is going on here? Right there. Let's set the location. Then drag it over. Could have it do something like that. PS1 filter, yeah. That's like a great way to describe it. It's probably what's going to happen. Only just noticing the background scrolling in my OBS. Is that what you're referring to? So yeah, it's a really slow scroll. I didn't know if anyone would notice. Whoa. All right, let's see. What does it look like? Super small. Yeah, that one brick is a giveaway. All right, I think I'm just about ready to put this in the game and then move on to the water tower for now. Actually, not the water tower, the earth tower. So, let's try this. In fact, I might not even export this right now. I think I'll keep it. I like where it's going, but I think I could do a little bit more with it even. But I don't want to... can you add a glow effect to these in the engine? I believe so. In fact, like for example, even if I just hover over one of them, the glow effect works. Even on like the shards. Like that. Which means I could apply it all the time if I wanted to. I know it's pretty hard to see, even to my eyes. I can almost not even see the bottom part. But I could also brighten it up like that top one too, if you think that would be more... stand out better. Which maybe it would. Maybe I should brighten them up like that one. Add a blender light. In fact, which light did I use up there? Add another one down here. And let's put the render on so we can see a little bit more. So for this light, where is this light? Right here? So it does make a pretty big difference. That might be better. Could maybe throw in a couple more. Yeah, it is crazy. It takes that flatness right out of there. So now it might dance kind of in and out of there, but something like that. Might be better because I don't want to do all this work and have them be invisible. Yeah, I think we're on the right track there. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'll probably continue to tweak it, and then once I'm happy with the final tweak, put it back into the game. But I think that's a good start. It's a good middle point. Yeah, I think it's gonna all come together. I think our time has come. And what I'm gonna do for the Earth Tower is basically like an old tower. It's gonna be kind of old, but like taken over by basically Earth. Like there's gonna be like a tree growing in and around it. So let's see, to get a rough concept. I'll show you my reference art. Here were some ideas. So something kind of like this. I'm going with a more squarish structure, but then it's going to kind of have trees growing in and through it, vines or whatever I can manage, obviously. But then like a little bit illuminated from the inside, like this final picture too. And so as far as the Earth Tower's abilities, it doesn't so much shoot out. I'm not planning on it shooting out like the other towers. It's going to be more like within itself, and it's going to grow, you know, the plants around it. It's going to be proximity based, so it doesn't need to shoot out from the top. So it'll stand out from the other towers in that regard a little bit. So I think the sample picture here on the right kind of alludes to that concept where it's more internal and not like an external beacon so much. And so these stairs were kind of bothering me. Yeah, more like a radiation, more so than like an explicit beam or anything. I'm going to move that over here. Then I'm going to do a rotation on the z-axis, 90 degrees, or 180 degrees. And let's move that this way. Okay. And then I'm hoping that well, my plan, I don't need to be a perfect 3D modeler to do this stuff, which is fantastic because all I need is for this 2D image to look good. And so these don't have to be perfectly connected or anything. If I've got bushes and rocks and junk here, then I'm set. And let's see if we can add a rock. In fact, let's save. Add a mesh object. Let's do a... We can just do a UV sphere, maybe even an icosphere. Then I think all I need to do for that tree roots and branches help to cover up. Yeah, for sure. Exactly. And I'm gonna take this thing and try to make it look a bit rock-like. So we're gonna shade smooth, and then lots of different ways to do this. Let's see if I can figure out a good one. Subdivision surface. Let's just scale. Okay, let's not do that then. Instead, we can sculpt. If I can remember how to make it actually do something. What the heck? Oh, it is working. Just couldn't tell. Okay, I don't like that. Let me look up a quick setting here. This will be a lot faster. Yeah, so I was on the right track. They're actually saying to use the displacement modifier. Let's go back to layout. Let me start over with a new sphere here. I was on the right track, though, for the record. So let's take that. One level of subdivision modifier. Then add a displace modifier with an empty object as the coordinates. So let's add an empty. Not exactly sure where they want me to put the empty. Then, and a cloud modifier is the texture. So, displacement. And then for the coordinates, object, pick the object, pick the empty. And you said, what about those fire pits that look like bird baths? Could have them at the corners maybe, unless that makes it look too mage. That's definitely an option. So yeah, what are those called? I know what you mean though. A lot of the ancient cultures had those. Yeah, that's an idea. We could definitely explore that. All right, so cloud modifier as the texture. We got the coordinate for it. Trying to remember how to do the, I said the cloud object, which is displace clouds. Oh, here. Okay. Got that. There we go. Now we're getting a little more organically rocky. All right, and then what's next? Yeah, people always find clever ways to do these things. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Fire. Oh, a brazier? Is that how it's pronounced? Brazier? Yeah, yeah. I think you came to that conclusion before I did. All right, so now we're gonna add a subsurface modifier. So we'll do that. No, wait, we already did that. I thought. Let's see, go to the object, go to the modifiers. Oh, there we go. Funny thing is moving it actually impacts the way it looks. What I need to do is move it to where it looks like it's in place. So X right about there, and then let's drop that down. And then slightly over maybe. And again, all I really care about is this image over here on the left. Good afternoon. Is it pronounced? Is it Moosey Chow? Do I stream GDevelop videos, tutorials? Yeah, I do. In fact, I've got GDevelop open at the moment. I'm just making some assets over in Blender. You working on a project? All right, I might be back in action. Let me know if y'all can, let me know if you read me. I can see on my phone, it looks like OBS hasn't updated though. Let me try something here. Cool. Yeah, we're back in action. So let's see. Yeah, so my question for you, I'm going to assume that's Moosey Chow, but I could be butchering your name. Sorry if I am. My question for you was, have you started an RPG in GDevelop, or are you just now toying with the idea? Not yet started because you were not sure if that can be made in GDevelop or not. Oh yeah, you can definitely do that. 100%. So basically, and I haven't done that exactly right. So, but my first advice is to consider the different systems you need. So an RPG is going to be made up of, like you said, an inventory system. That's a whole system. Then you're going to need the itemization to go into the inventory system. And then you're gonna need like, for obviously if you're gonna do enemies and that kind of thing, you're gonna have a combat system. So what I would recommend is take those in chunks and start by building them out. Don't build your dream game first, just build out prototypes for each of those systems. Yeah, and that's a good question too. What kind of RPG? It's such a broad category. You're not going to make a Baldur's Gate, but you could do like a simpler version of a decision tree if you're doing something like that. Or if it's more action based, then you might have more combat than dialogue or something. It all depends. All right. Let's add a cylinder here. You're right. Let me try getting the chat back on the screen too. Sorry about this. Bad internet. I'm not sure. I'm using the updated chat URL. But it's not updating the text. That is pretty weird. I'll just hide that chat. It's kind of odd. Okay, so Battle Knight RPG. You love that game, and that same type is what you're looking for. Players are only going to tap and collect stuff. Only the data objects will be huge. Combat stuff will be auto. Looked for assets, especially the assets for effects, but hard to find. The ones that you found were low quality or pixelated. Let's take a look at that game. Battle Knight RPG. Is that the Cyberpunk RPG, or are there different versions? Lost in Code, you said you're not seeing the other chats? That is bizarre. Yeah, try a refresh. Yeah, the mechanics of the game are so deep. Yeah, that's awesome. Let me take a look here. I haven't played it. Let's see, is it on Steam? Maybe not. It's on Google Play. Okay, yeah, so you're talking about this kind of auto combat system. Yeah, this is definitely doable in GDevelop. The interconnection of different items and dependency of stuff in it is really complex. No, I believe that. This would be what I would consider a systems game. You know, some games are more... Oh, I don't even know. I don't even know what the alternative is. But yeah, like what you're saying, if this is a good game, it's because of the systems, the stuff that you're not necessarily looking at, right? Yeah, a mix of 2D and 3D. It's kind of like 2.5D is what some people call it. And honestly, that's what my game is too. Lots of variables, lots of checks. And if you do those systems right, it'll feel really good. And then on top of that, then you add the looks. The looks will probably be the easier part. I'm assuming you're not an artist, and neither am I. So you would probably want to find an asset pack where all of the, you know, after you have your systems in place with placeholder art, then you would find an asset pack where it's all kind of unified or something like that. But you would want to get the systems first, or I would. But yeah, I mean, inventory systems, there are a lot of different tutorials on that. The combat system, there's probably something like this already. Yeah, if you hop into the Discord, you know, we could work right alongside you. Yeah, definitely do the placeholder assets. Plenty of those available right there in the app. But let's see, if you were going to do one from scratch, trying to see. Have you done, let me ask another follow-up question. Have you made any games yet? You've made platformers and tap games in GDevelop, they were pretty simple. Okay, so that gets you past some of the basics then. But yeah, man, I think that looks awesome. It looks like a fun game. I do think it's definitely doable, like Lost in Code said as well. Yeah, so, you know, a game design sheet, get all your ideas out. Really hone in on the ideas. Otherwise, you might find yourself running in a lot of different directions at the same time, and then you'll end up with a bit of a mess. But if you look at this game and you model your game after it, figure out exactly what the systems are, or at least take your best guess at what they are. It was a few years ago, and at that time GDevelop didn't have multiplayer support too. Okay, so are you wanting multiplayer? Because they do have that, but you'll need to take that into consideration before you start developing. Thanks for the hearts. Appreciate it. You thought a lot and couldn't decide where and how to start. What should you create first in it? Yeah, so I mean... Oh, it doesn't need to be it doesn't need to be real-time multiplayer, but you're saying it does need to be multiplayer. Code says combat, which is probably accurate. That's probably a good starting point, because when you're building a game from the ground up, your first goal after design is to get a minimum viable product, your MVP. Your MVP is going to be like something that's technically functional, even though it won't look like a game. There will be one global huge object. Yeah, so for combat, as I'm looking at this little bit of preview here, get the combat to feel good. Don't worry about the itemization yet. Just get the combat to feel good as a starting point. Yeah, the if you used GDevelop several years ago, they might not have had this put in very well. But the external events now let you break out a lot of that other stuff much more easily. So for example, in this game, as an example, this is my main, if you want to call it main. This is like my main event sheet. And it's basically pulling in a lot of other event sheets. It's linking to them. And I can drag and drop them, swap them out, disable them for testing, that kind of thing. So it makes all of that tracking much easier. I do have some global variables, but each of these can have scene variables too, which are separated out from each other, which keeps it much more clean. Yeah, definitely the stats of the heroes depend on the items. So I guess what I was saying, and you can play around with this, get the combat to feel good, and you can put in some controls, you know, some developer hacks to tweak the values. Because when you say items, the back end of the items is really a handful of variables, right? So whatever your combat variables are, health, attack, damage. Yeah, so use those variables to track the items. You don't necessarily have to build them out right at the start as objects, you know. You can just tweak the variables themselves. Maybe put in some dials. So that's kind of what I would recommend, but feel free to hop into the Discord and we can chat further about it. But going back to your original question, it's 100% doable in GDevelop, and it would be pretty fast in GDevelop. I think the planning, I think the hardest part is going to be the thinking. Once you know what you want, it's going to be very doable. doable. All right, Elaine, let's grab this cylinder. And what I'm going to do is move this into the middle here, but I'm going to hide the tower itself. So this is the bottom, so let's call this tower, and hide that too. And then let's just work with this thingy. And let's scale this up a bit, and then I'm going to play around with this thing a bit. Yeah, we build off of each other's ideas. I know for a fact if I hit a rut, getting another pair of eyes or another opinion does wonders. Like we did a game jam recently with our little group, and everyone contributed. It was pretty great. Have a good night, Riley Parker. Thanks for hopping on. Try to get this tree trunk going here. Don't know that these are the controls I want though. Twist. A little bit of a twist. Along the z-axis anyway. All right, all right. Yeah, just start it somewhere. Zero risk. It's all free, as you're aware, and got nothing to lose. Let's do an offset edge loop. Then I'm going to I remember how I want to do this. Okay, let me grab I need a single vertex. So undo that. I'm going to get out of that. Shift A, mesh. Let's do I guess a plane. Then I want to select those and delete them. Take this other one and extrude it out. So now I have a stick. Let's move this somewhere where we can kind of see it. Yeah, well, Lost in Code, you have no shortage of ideas because you're making a new game like every Thursday. I'm sure you'll get around to it. That's what I want to do. I just need to finish up the game I've been working on since forever. A friend of mine who's more of a gamer than a game dev had the idea of doing a similar kind of game, a similar game in structure, but more like an Oregon Trail kind of game. I don't know if y'all ever played Oregon Trail. He was wanting to do something more like that, with like random events, some dialogue trees, and of course some combat. All right, I've got my little stick here. I'm just going to, oops, I just want a point. So let's extrude again. No, not the whole thing. There we go, extrude to cursor. Yeah, like a modern version with added features. Yeah, it might be something I consider eventually. Just gonna try to get this thing in place and then I'll tweak it later. Kind of have a vine going up and around. Probably have some branches coming out somewhere, so let me grab more of these other ones. Go back to extrude. Something like that. Yeah, do a game jam. Which one? What was the last one we were talking about doing? Do you remember? All right, so now let me save, and then I want to take this whole thingy and I forgot what it was called. Volume to mesh. That might not have been it. There we go, skin. Boom. Yeah, we were on about doing one amongst the disc. Oh yeah, so we each make a game. Yeah, that would be fun. Right, so we've got kind of a working basis here, at least. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad so far. So I click up here, I can turn on X-ray vision, which will allow me to kind of see through some of this. What type of tower defense game? It's the working title has been Dark Tower Defense, but right now it's turning into a bit of the Last Lightkeeper tower defense. So it's light versus dark. And I don't really have any art in place to show, but this is kind of what I'm working with so far. And you'll have different tower types. Most of this is placeholder art, but I've got a few towers ready to go. And so there's going to be like a darkness overlay. Light is your resource, it's your health bar, and it's also your it's also going to be visually dependent on your light as well. So lots of things like that. It's going to have a little bit of like, it's going to have a lot of risk reward. So you're going to be able to really juice up your level difficulty to get more reward out of it, but also make it, you know, obviously more difficult. So that's going to be one of the key pillars of the game. So you're the last Lightkeeper. All the mages have died. And you're basically all that's left between the Hordes of Darkness and complete devastation. Yeah, tower defense is a pretty fun category, and I know I put a lot of time into them. Action RPGs are probably like my main thing, but obviously making an action RPG and making it good. I found that the action RPG players are extremely picky. They kind of hate their own games. They're not happy with Diablo 4. They're not happy with Path of Exile 2. They are, but they're not. They just don't know what they want anymore. And I wonder if a lot of them, the older ones at least, I wonder if it's just because they're thinking about nostalgia and they're forgetting the fact that they're just grown-ass men or women now, and things just don't feel the same as they did when you were playing as a kid. And it's not because of the games, it's because of themselves. It's deep. You haven't published any yet. The previous games you created were just for fun, and GDevelop itself was getting better. Yeah, well, it's come a long way now, so the sky's the limit. This will be my first commercial release if I ever get around to it. I just want to hurry up and do it so that I can move on to something. Not that I'm not enjoying it, but it's been a long time. Something like that. Obviously, I'll come back in and add more vertices and such, but yeah. Not too horrible for a starting point. I've even made a leaf, if you can believe it or not. I have made this. and I've got plans to use it. Code says you just want a game you can play that doesn't have lots of reading. Oh man, and Sam doesn't know this yet. I got a golf game. It's Mario Golf, and I was just testing it out. Like, this was just the other day, and I was testing it out so I know how to play it for when he gets back. And I played like their campaign version of that game, and I swear I haven't even gotten through it, y'all. Do it all yet. It was like 30 minutes of dialogue scenes just to play golf. I was like, this is too much, y'all. This is too much. I don't need this much immersion for golf. Now walk outside of the clubhouse and meet your manager. Now walk over there where they'll tell you to use 7 clubs instead of 14 clubs and blah, 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 blah. For your game, you really don't need much of a template. Yeah, just open a fresh project, because think about it's basically a side view. Maybe it's a isometric view, whatever. The mechanics, I don't think, assuming you go 2D, and I think the big question is 2D or 3D, and I'd recommend 2D if you're starting out. But if you go 2D, the mechanics aren't going to depend too much on the angle of the view. It's going to be more about, again, your back-end systems. So yeah, I would agree with starting from scratch. Yeah, sounds like a plan. Battle Knight, like game, has too much descriptions of everything. I could see that being the case too. Honestly, finding the balance between UI information and finding ways to make it organically intuitive is a really, like, that's basically a discipline all in itself. I don't like that. I can make some fall colored leaves, some blue leaves. Whatever I want. You will play games like that though, but it has to draw me in first with a good battle example before the lore dump. That was one of my comments about that Imperial game I recently did. Granted, that one's supposed to be pretty lore heavy, but it was quite a lot at the start before you ever do battle. RGB leaves. Should be a game all on its own. Leaf clicker revolution. You never know. That might just be the next cash cow game. Right, Maya? My dog perked up on that. I'm gonna refill my drink. I'll be right back. And back. From India. Nice. Probably close that out now. All right, I'm going to try some geometry nodes on a thing here. Let's go to solid view. Lost in Code is really good at problem solving. I'll tell you that much. I'll tell you that much for free. Alright, so let's disconnect that. Let's add distribute points on faces. Then from there, we're going to go to instance on points. And then from there, that will connect over here. But we also want to add some collection info, which ties into the instance. And we're going to have a random value generator. So the value will tie into the rotation. And then same thing, duplicate that. And that will tie into the scale. Okay, so now we can tweak the numbers. (9:23 a.m.) 9:23. You are about 11 and a half hours different from where I am. I didn't know we could be half hours apart. I'll be honest. Yeah, it's 54 for me as well. Yeah, it might always be hours. Who knows? Maybe it was a typo. Unless there really is. Maybe it's a Twilight Zone. I'm gonna tweak some of these numbers here and see what we get. This needs to be a vector. Oh, I didn't tie that in to the rotation and scale. Am I making the game all alone? Oops. Sort of yes, but at the same time, my community has pitched in here and there, so no. The answer is kind of no too. Lost in Code did a lot of assistant work, a lot of shoulder surfing help, and then a bit of direct code help. In my version 1.0, I'm kind of on a version 2.0 right now. So none of that, all of the logic hasn't been lost, but he contributed in that regard quite a bit. And then I had another person contribute a little bit of the art, some of the concept art, and some things like that. Actually, I had 2 people contribute art, and I'll probably have someone contribute music at the end, but I'll do all the sound effects myself. I've got those down. He's a pro bug fixer. Yeah, no, it's been helpful. And I felt bad about switching over to version 2.0, but Lost in Code, I think you can agree. It's just so much cleaner using the external events. But obviously the problem solving we did isn't lost. Once you can figure out the problem solving in your head, it's pretty easy to reproduce. Okay, so yep, learn and evolve. You said it was looking somewhat like Gemcraft. Have you watched the streams before? Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, so Gemcraft is a huge inspiration for me. Obviously, kind of that dark kind of feel is definitely spot on. My game will be not a copycat because Gemcraft is all about heavy math behind the gems, which define the tower types, whereas I just have tower types. The funny part is, though, since I'm kind of designing the theme around lighthouses and light keeping, the light keeper of the lighthouses. A lighthouse has a lens. Let me see if I can illustrate this. Every lighthouse has a lens, or at least the old ones did. A Fresnel lens. It's a big fancy thing which helps magnify the light to make it go really bright and really far. So each tower has one of these at the top. There's my gem. I didn't even mean for that to happen, but it's kind of a funny coincidence. So I can make different versions of these lenses in my art, and it's going to be kind of a core piece of how you upgrade and such. Your light keeper player character tweaks and modifies the lenses to come up with new tower types. So it's a little bit like Gemcraft. I haven't gotten too far away from that concept. Thematically. Yeah. Which version did you play a lot? Because there was Chasing Shadows, which I think I put the most time into. Then there were the older ones when they were actually Flash games. And then Frostborn Wrath, I think, came out after Chasing Shadows, which was basically just a very similar version to that. So which ones did you play? Why? Something is wrong here because my rock is invisible. What is... Latest one was the best, but you've played them all. Nice. Yeah, man, they're so much fun. I love them. Definitely a huge inspiration for my game. But I'm definitely not trying to copy the structure, because that you can't. Like, they just did what they did so well. The only way to make a decent game is to not try to copy it. Which reminds me, I'm going to take a break from Blender here. I'll come back to those nodes a little bit later, but I did want to do something else. I wanted to do some homework, and I just got a game. I'm going to play some Bloons. I'm playing some Bloons because I'm trying to look at the UI and how they do their UI so I can figure out what I want to do for my game. There are some elements of my game that I'm just not 100% sure on for the UI. So I'm looking at various games. I know Gemcraft by heart. I know how they do things. So, and Bloons Tower Defense 6. I looked at a poll online, and they said that Tower Defense 6. I mean, sorry, they said Bloons 6 was their favorite by a landslide. So if this is everyone's favorite version of it, then I want to use it as maybe pieces of it as inspiration. But when I look at this main screen here, I don't think I'm going to do anything like it. Oh, and you asked, how will the power of towers change or upgrades? So thematically, what it's going to be in terms of like the story is you collect fragments of those lenses that I showed you, and through the fragments you can make small upgrades, but then if you discover an entirely new lens, you can basically unlock new tower types. That's the core of it. So you can use lens fragments to make small upgrades to your towers, and so like stats and such. Then, and you'll also get a second type of currency which you can use to make the risk reward higher. And that's the basic structure of it. But anyway, I'm looking at this and it feels a little bit mobile-y to me. Obviously, I'm not using the art style, but even if I change the art style to something that I'm currently using, to me this is like a little bit mobile-y. So I don't think I want this exactly. So if I go into play, and y'all let me know if the volume gets too loud, but So you can pick a map, right? So I'll have maps, kind of like this. And I'm going to have basically biomes. So, yeah, it's cross-platform. Mine will be similar to this in that you can pick, you'll be able to go from like a green, like a temperate biome to like a watery biome to a lava biome. And then within each one, you'll have different maps. So I think it's kind of similar here. Is each one of these a single map? It looks like it is. So in my game, it would be more like you pick a region and then you pick a map. So powers. Sold. So if I click on that, it uses the in-game currency. So now I've got one of those. And I'm sorry if this sounds super basic, but I'm actually trying to study the details here. You always try to generate auto, otherwise it's too much work and thought process in creating every single level. Yeah, I mean, these days it's really feasible to automate level creation. And in my case, what I'm trying to do is to prevent, because I want my game to be just a small handcrafted game. I don't need it to be. I played another tower defense game called Infinitode, and it's kind of an infinite scaling tower defense game. And to some degree, Gemcraft is infinite as well. But I want my game to not be like that, just because I want it to be a small handcrafted gem of a game. You play it for a handful of hours, whatever the number may be, and then you're good to go. But definitely automation is a really feasible option. Get powers easily without paying real money. When you say that, Code, are you saying that Bloons makes it so that you don't have to pay to win? Is that what your point is? Because my understanding is Bloons is not like... Okay, yeah, gotcha. For sure. I don't think Bloons is kind of sketchy in that regard. Some games are 100% pay to win. Alright, and it looks like there's also a quest here. So what's interesting to me is there's so much here. I don't think this is actually very optimal. Not me critiquing Bloons, but kind of like I haven't played since like maybe Bloons 2, right? So I'm kind of an outsider here. To me, there's so many things to look at here that if I wasn't already a tower defense person, I wouldn't really know what to look at, because there's something up here calling for my attention on the top left. He's calling for my attention. These boxes are calling for my attention. I know I can click on this green play button in the middle because it's in the middle. But then there's this new stuff here. There's this new stuff here. So it's a little bit overwhelming, to be honest. So I'm going to avoid that myself. Oh, nice. Hey, you did that in our Game Jam game. With Dave. Monkey money. Okay, so it's just a little quick daily reward thing. That's not too bad. Click on that one. Unlock at level 30. Alright. I'm assuming this would be a store, a shop, yeah. Achievements. Cosmetics. More UI stuff at level 6. On the right will be more. Okay. Oh, there's the achievements. And of course settings. Alright, so monkeys, I know what those are. We know what monkeys are. That would be the equivalent of towers. So these are towers. And then within each one, you can look at their individual upgrades. So they've got... So your basic, if this is like the basic tower, if I can call it that, then it has 3 trees of skills. Each tree is really one. My interpretation is that each tree is really one skill that then gets upgraded 5 times. So let's see, sharp, basic, and the best in your opinion. All right, yeah, I remember you saying you're a fan of the basic. 1 extra balloon per shot, 2 balloons. And then this converts the dart monkey into a slower attacking spike-a-pult that hurls large spiked balls. Lots of balloons and rebounds. A giant spiked ball that pops lead and excels at crushing ceramic and fortified. And then Ultra Juggernaut. Okay, so yeah, it just gets really, really ultra. Speed. 3 darts at a time instead of 1. Crossbow Master is OP. Crossbow Master shoots really fast and devastates most balloon types with ease. Can detect camo. Long range. So let me ask you this real quick before, because I could just play it and figure it out, but do all of the, like when you start upgrading one, I'm assuming that these other effects also apply over here. So if I get speed or distance from here, does it apply to Spike-a-Pult? You pick a path in game, so it can only max 1 path at a time per monkey. Oh, okay. So like I can get 4, can I get 4 of these? In other words, these 12 nodes, can I get these 12? But then I have to pick just one of these things at the end. Five of top path and 2 of another. Okay. So each tower type, or monkey, will level up, I'm assuming, as you use them in the game. Because in the one and only game I played on this download so far, I played these 2. So it looks like they got XP, which is also the currency. So that makes sense. That's actually similar to what I was thinking for my game. So each tower type has XP so that you can then further develop that tower type. Nice. I like that. do that again. All right. Sounds good. I can't promise that I won't get addicted. Okay, so yeah, looking at this again, kind of with fresh eyes right now. What I think that I'm seeing is there's a path up, and then there's some kind of path coming out. Monkey Meadows is the best place to learn the game. It probably is. And I'm going slower than I need to. I'm just really trying to kind of analyze, because if something confuses me, I don't want to do it that way in my game. Is there not a way to like keep placing the same tower type as like control click or something? Yeah, it seems like they could do that if you want to put a whole bunch of the same monkey down. So my next upgrade is going to be 1900 if I get the crossbow. But I'm also wondering, okay, so you can click out like that or click up here. I think freezing them makes it tough, but if I do this guy, and you'll know better than me, so you're probably laughing at my strategy here, but I think ice, the normal monkey can't pop them yet, but he can probably pop the glue. And I'm going to put a 3 times speed in my game. Okay, so they give you an option to look at the map. You can look at your failure before you leave. Retry the last round, restart, home. They show you some stats from the round. All the enemies that made it through, in other words. Yeah, I'll definitely have a stat screen at the end of each round. Yeah, let's get out of this. And go to play. Let's go to Monkey Meadow. Let's try hard. On hard, monkeys cost more than normal. You start at round 3. The balloons move a little faster when you have 100 lives. Beating round 80 awards you a gold medal for that track. Okay, and then from here I can see that there's some sort of weird tree here. There's a sandbox version, which I am assuming must be unlocked. Well, literally everything needs to be unlocked. Don't say good luck. That kind of portends I'm going to fail. And you're going to be right. Okay, so that's that thing I just bought. This takes me back. Okay. Yeah, don't waste it. I feel like I should put one out here to catch stragglers. Click on each monkey to see the paths you were talking about. Okay, yeah, now I see. So okay, never mind. That's just the targeting. So you've got the sharp shots, quick shots, and long range. So if I'm going to do long range, for example, okay, that makes sense. So it's how does that then tie into, because it's this tree, right? Is it not this tree? Sharp, quick, and long. But it's per monkey. Gotcha. So it's the unlock. Very good. Obviously, I'll need to unlock more to really be able to take advantage of it. Crossbow's the best. Alright, we've got the 3rd level. We've got a crossbow. So these are essentially healers. Two crossbows. You're gonna get sucked in again. I'm a bad influence. So, obviously, as I'm playing this for the first time here, it's popping up the description of each enemy. So, I could definitely do something like that. It doesn't seem too wordy to me. You grind all the heroes. It's okay for the first time. Yeah, I suppose so. Otherwise, you're not going to know what you're dealing with. Because if let's say you put the description and it's just like a little optional button you can click somewhere, your player might just not even click on it. They might not know it exists, and then they'll have no idea how to play your game and get frustrated. So you want to avoid frustration, but too many pop-ups like that. I think for me though, it might not be as bad. Like right here, they're showing me like a large handful of different balloons in one level. Like this. I'm not planning on doing that. I'm planning on introducing like maybe like two or three per region, not like 10 per level. So I don't think it's going to be too annoying. Hopefully. Military monkeys. Even one pop-up saying click this button to see enemy stats. Yeah, I could do that. And then maybe after like I don't know. I think I've seen something like that. Like it'll be a pop-up. It'll say like click here, and it'll be there for a few seconds, and then it kind of blinks away. Lead balloons. Oh yeah, I forgot about the lead. That's not good. Come on through, y'all. Just come on through. The bombing brigade. Yeah, these do need to be right up front though, don't they? So that the sharp ones can go ahead and do their thing. If I put a crossbow here, you can shoot right down the lane. Yeah, for now. Getting close. Getting close to the sharpshooter. Oh, nice. Buff towers. Wave 40. Gonna be bad, huh? Oh, pretty convenient that they level themselves. So end of next round has 2 regrow balloons. They gain skills down bottom left. Near where this crossbow is, I'm assuming. Triple attack speed for a short time. Okay. Gotcha.
Incoming.
Whichever tower has killed more enemies, they auto level up and upgrades. Auto level up and upgrades additionally. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Kind of reminds me of the Blood Tower in Gemcraft. I was kind of thinking of doing something along that line. Kind of a little reward for having towers out early and not just waiting till the end to place them. A little incentive.
Sweet.
So here I noticed that you're basically unlocking most of the towers in the first couple of levels. I think mine are going to be a little more spread out. Granted, this is a long level for starting out. Some are unlocked through a quest.
Nice.
This game also gives you what I think is infinite time between waves. I don't think I want that for mine. I would think I want it to be a little bit more real-time strategy, so it'll have a countdown with maybe like an incentive reward for calling the waves early. Yeah, definitely liking the game. I liked it back in the super early version. Maybe it was like version 2 that I played. I liked it then as well. But yeah, this is really smooth. I love it. I love what they've done with it. Oh, you can toggle the auto waves. Gwendolyn. How do you... Oh, okay. Gotcha. Drop and lock. Drag and drop, drop and lock. Oh, nice. You know what's funny? The cursor thing here, the way OBS does it, I already have a large cursor, so it looks bigger than what y'all would see. When I click on the large cursor button, mine actually shrinks, but I can see that it's bigger on OBS. So it's backwards for me. That's so weird. Yeah, so I'm playing with large on my end. I don't know why it doesn't show it in OBS. Large is definitely needed. So I think I see like, what, 28 or 30 different tower types here, the monkeys. I guess they're not all monkeys, so I'm just going to call them towers, but... And then I think you said some are unlocked from the quests. So my game only has 8... I guess my game has 9 tower types, but then each one is going to have like alternate fire mode, so I think I currently have 8 times 2 plus the one basic one, so 17 tower types. I guess that's not too bad for starting out.
BFB incoming. Is that all you got? Sweet. Incoming. Is that all you got?
Yeah, I definitely can add more later on. Once the whole game is in place, and then it's just like, okay, let's add another tower. It's not too bad. Master upgrade.
BFB incoming.
Oh yeah, it's ready. Alright, crossbow master. Shoots really fast and devastates most balloon types with ease. Let's do it.
Is that all you got?
Just need to afford it.
Incoming! BFB incoming!
You can have one of each master. Like in play, you can only have one in play on the field at one time.
Nice.
So you gotta pick wisely. I'll probably pick a center
BFB incoming!
position.
Incoming!
Yeah, one of each max level. A druid. One of each path in play at a time. Okay. Cool beans. What does this little guy do? That was kind of a bad placement. Two crossbow masters is your favorite strat. Very nice.
Awesome! Incoming! BFB incoming! That all you got?
For the mage, get the sprite wall. I see wall of fire. No, I'm out of XP. Firewall destroys weaker balloons. Yeah, let's see if I can get enough. Upgrades. 93. Not yet. Surely this is the largest thing the balloons could possibly send at us, right? Probably not, the way you're saying it. Probably not.
COMG incoming!
But this is round 80. Alright. Oh, I will get addicted. I'm a tower defense guy. And I have a lot to discover here. So I'm doomed. Man, pop count 260,500. That is insane. Oh, you're right. You can see the individual stats. 73,000. See, this other guy, I think he was one of the first. He had 61,000. I'm not seeing anyone else even close. $54, yeah, it drops off pretty sharply.
What next?
You put in some work.
Yes?
Does free play, is this like infinite mode? Balloons will get stronger and faster. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm having this in my game too. Two can do wave 80. That's insane.
BFB incoming. That all you got?
The XP is less.
That all you got?
Oh, gotcha. So it's just kind of... I don't like that. I think I want it to be a bit rewarding in my game.
Incoming. That all you got?
Otherwise, it's like, yeah, why do it?
Incoming. That all you got? BFB incoming. COMG incoming.
Alright, so you're recommending... Let's see. I mean, I'll probably end the stream here, to be honest. It's a work night for me, but this has been pretty fun. I'm going to keep doing some homework, some research for purely academic purposes. Not.
Headshot. Alright. BFB incoming. That all you got? COMG incoming.
Addiction is real. Yeah, that was not ideal.
DDT incoming. Oh, come on.
I couldn't even get out of the thing. I'm used to being able to do the right click to get the tower off of my cursor, but that's not how they have it set up. But yeah, the hut is a buff tower. Now you've got your dailies, some events. It's like these reset every 3 hours, every 2 days. Nice. It's definitely a lot of content. Yeah, definitely a lot. I think they can get away with it. I don't think I could get away with it. Exactly, yeah. It was added over the years. They have a recurring fan base, player base. I get it. And I'm sure that they're it's a fun game, so they can do it. And I'm sure they're making bank. Cool beans. Well, old Corey's gonna go to bed and get to work in the morning, so gonna hop off for the night. Oh, knowledge. You will start earning monkey knowledge points from level 30. So primary knowledge, military magic support. Okay, wow. So a lot of trees here. Looks like it flows down-ish. Yeah, I'm going to look at these in depth. I'm interested in good skill tree progressions, so I want to look through this. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. And that's going to be it for me. So thanks so much for hanging out. Yep, talk to y'all soon. And everyone else have a great night or a great afternoon if you're in India. And whatever it is y'all are working on, I hope you have fewer bugs than I do, and catch you later.